Welcome back, football fans. At just 19 years old, Zaire Emery isn't just a rising star, he's already captained Paris Saint-Germain, scored on his France senior debut, and played in the Champions League final. Calm, composed and fearless under pressure, he's being called the future of French football, and Europe's biggest clubs are lining up for him. Born in the suburbs of Paris, Zaire Emery's meteoric rise from academy prodigy to PSG's midfield general has stunned fans and silenced doubters. He's not flashy off the pitch, but on it, he's electric. A rare mix of tactical intelligence, leadership, and raw talent, already being compared to legends like Pogba, Kante, and even Patrick Vieira, and he's just getting started. Stay with us as we dive into the unstoppable rise of Zaire Emery and explore how this teenage powerhouse is redefining modern football. Marie Jean-Pierre Zaire Emery was born on March 8, 2006 in Montreux, a culturally rich and fast-paced suburb on the eastern edge of Paris. Far from the glamour of the Champs-Élysées, Montreux is known for its working-class grit, diverse communities, and tight-knit neighborhoods. Warren's roots run deep in this environment. His parents, of Martiniquois and African descent, raised him with strong values: discipline, humility, and relentless work ethic. These weren't just family principles, they became the foundation of his footballing mindset. At just 4.5 years old, Warren joined Aubervilliers, a modest local club. His father, Frank Emery, who had played semi-professionally for Red Star FC, coached him personally. Early training sessions were more than drills. They were lessons in focus, respect, and resilience. By the time he turned 8, Warren's raw talent had outgrown the community pitches of Montreux. That same year, he joined the Paris Saint-Germain Academy, one of the most competitive youth setups in Europe. Coaches immediately noticed something different. He wasn't just physically ahead of his peers, he read the game like someone twice his age. He was often placed in age groups 2 or 3 years above his own. By 13, he was starring for PSG's U16s. At 15, he had already become a key player for their U19 team in the UEFA Youth League. Legendary French coach Zaire Emery would later call him a phenomenal talent, praising his mental maturity, calmness under pressure, and natural leadership. But Montreux didn't offer shortcuts. Warren commuted long distances daily, juggled school with top-level football, and lived under the weight of early expectations. Still, he remained grounded, guided by his father's old-school philosophy: earn everything. Storm dusty concrete pitches to PSG's elite training grounds, Zaire Emery's early journey wasn't built on hype. It was built on sweat, sacrifice, and a crystal clear sense of purpose. The year 2022 arrived, and Zaire Emery wasn't just talented, he was ready. At just 16 years and 151 days, he made his official Ligue 1 debut on August 6 in a dominant 5-0 win over Clermont. That appearance etched his name into the club's record books as PSG's youngest ever senior player. But it was only the beginning. Just a few months later, on October 25, in a dazzling 7-2 Champions League victory over Maccabi Haifa, Warren made history again, becoming the youngest player to ever represent PSG in the Champions League. The stage was no longer intimidating, it was home. By January 2023, he earned his first senior start in the Coupe de France, again breaking age records. Then, on February 1, still only 16, he scored his first professional goal, coming off the bench in a 3-1 win over Montpellier. Not even a week later, he was thrown into the fire, starting against Bayern Munich in a Champions League knockout match, becoming the youngest to do so in club history. But Warren's rise wasn't about cameo appearances or novelty stats. By the end of the 2022-23 season, he had cemented his place in the PSG squad, helping secure the Ligue 1 title. He was no longer just the kid with potential, he was a regular. Under coach Luis Enrique, the 2023-24 season became his proving ground. He made over 60 senior appearances, logging more top-level minutes than nearly every U20 player in Europe, second only to Jude Bellingham. In one standout month, he delivered 3 Champions League assists, becoming the youngest player ever to do so. His rise continued internationally. In 2023, he was called up to the France senior team, making his debut against Gibraltar at just 17 years, 8 months and 10 days, the youngest France debutant since 1914. He scored within 16 minutes, a dream debut marred only by an injury that forced him off. In less than 2 years, Warren had gone from a promising academy star to a future legend in the making. His story wasn't built on hype or shortcuts. It was built on record-breaking performance, mental steel, and relentless drive. He wasn't just surviving the spotlight, he was thriving in it. As the 2023-24 season unfolded, Warren Zaire-Emery didn't just participate, he took control. Under new PSG manager Luis Enrique, the 17-year-old wasn't treated like a promising prospect, he was trusted like a veteran. He featured in over 60 senior matches across Ligue, the Champions League, and domestic cup competitions, an astonishing tally for a teenager. It wasn't just about quantity, it was the quality of his performances that made Europe take notice. Analysts across Europe marveled at his composure under pressure, positional intelligence, and his uncanny ability to dictate tempo. His transition from youth prodigy to first-team linchpin was so smooth, it barely registered as a leap. It felt natural. At just 17, he was outplaying midfielders 10 years older, often controlling games with the maturity of someone twice his age. October 2023 was a breakout month. Warren became the youngest French player ever to record multiple assists in the Champions League in a single campaign. He ended the month with 2 goals and 5 assists, numbers most seasoned midfielders would be proud of. Then came December 13, when he launched a long-range stunner past Borussia Dortmund's defense, becoming PSG's youngest goalscorer in European competition. But the moment that defined his evolution came on April the 20th, 2024, his 18th birthday. In a symbolic gesture, he was handed the captain's armband during a 4-1 win over Rennes, making him the second youngest captain in PSG history. He didn't just wear it, he led with it. That leadership extended into silverware. Weeks later, he helped secure the 2023-24 Coupe de France and Ligue 1 title. His individual efforts were recognized with the UNFP Young Player of the Year award and a spot in the Ligue 1 Team of the Year. Ali 2025 brought glory of another kind. PSG's first ever UEFA Champions League title. Though he entered the final as a substitute, his contribution across the campaign was undeniable. The team's 5-0 demolition of Inter Milan capped a season in which Warren transitioned from a wonder kid into a fully established elite player. By January 2025, he had played 100 senior games, the youngest in club history to do so. Calm, commanding, and now crowned with success, Warren Zaire-Emery wasn't just the future anymore, he had already arrived. November 2023 marked a defining chapter in Warren Zaire-Emery's meteoric rise. At just 17 years and 255 days old, he received his first senior call-up to represent France in the Euro 2024 qualifiers. It wasn't a surprise for those following his development. Didier Deschamps, France's head coach, had already spoken publicly about Warren's rare maturity and exceptional technical discipline. But now it was official. The boy from Montreuil was ready to wear the national shirt at the highest level. Then came November 18, his debut against Gibraltar. In front of a roaring crowd and under the scrutiny of global cameras, Warren needed just 16 minutes to announce himself. With nerves of steel, he calmly slotted in a debut goal, becoming France's second youngest goal scorer in over 100 years, and their youngest debutant since 1914. The fairy tale, however, took a sudden twist. Moments later, a hard tackle forced him off with a painful ankle injury, sidelining him for the rest of 2023. Still, his performance left an indelible mark. In that brief window, he showcased everything that made him special. Composure under pressure, precision in movement, and a cool head in chaos. Analysts praised his balance of humility and competitive fire. Fans saw in him a new kind of French leader, quiet, intelligent, and lethal when needed. By May 2024, Warren was selected for France's Euro 2024 pre-squad, the youngest among them. While he didn't log major minutes in the tournament, he was later included in the UEFA Nations League 2025 squad, a strong sign that the national team views him as central to its long-term evolution. As stalwarts like Kante, Pogba, and Camavinga pass the torch, Zaire Emery is increasingly viewed as the next engine of Les Bleus. The expectations are massive, but so is his ceiling. Can he become the heartbeat of a new French era? If his past is any clue, yes, and then some. Warren Zaire-Emery's style of play is a remarkable fusion of serenity and steel, a deep-lying playmaker with the instincts of a field general and the grace of a veteran beyond his years. A true central midfielder, he doesn't just occupy space, he orchestrates it. Coaches and analysts praise his ability to read the game like a master strategist, seeing angles and sequences before they unfold. It's like watching a chess player controlling the board, only he's doing it at full speed, under pressure, on the biggest stages in football. His passing range is elite, short quick combinations to break pressing lines or long sweeping switches to reset the attack. Warren's ability to consistently find teammates in pockets of space speaks to his positional awareness, often referred to by pundits as third eye vision. Even when chased down by aggressive midfielders, he remains composed, rarely wasting a touch. That calmness under pressure is what sets him apart, not just in Ligue but across Europe. Defensively, he's no slouch. His work rate, tackling timing, and ball recovery draw comparisons to N'Golo Kante, while his box-to-box explosiveness and transition play have echoes of Yaya Toure. But Warren's game isn't a carbon copy of anyone's. It's measured, minimal, and intellectually refined. He doesn't chase flair, he pursues control. One of the most defining aspects of his play is his quiet leadership. Just 18, you can spot him gesturing for teammates to shift, adjusting the press, or instructing younger players with subtle authority. There's no shouting, just presence. He operates like a midfield conductor, ensuring everyone stays in tempo, with him dictating the beat. And when opportunity knocks, he steps up. His long-range strike against Borussia Dortmund wasn't just a highlight, it was a message. He's not afraid to take responsibility even under the brightest lights. In an era of flashy midfielders and highlight reel performers, Warren Zaïre-Emery brings back the essence of balance, creativity and control, grit and grace. He doesn't just play the game, he makes the whole team tick. Off the field, Warren Zaïre-Emery is not defined by the lights of Paris or the cameras that follow his every move. Instead, he is anchored by a powerful mix of discipline, humility, and deep family values. He often credits his parents, especially his father, Franck Emery, a former semi-professional footballer, for instilling a mindset that greatness must be earned, not inherited. From a young age, Warren was taught that talent is nothing without work ethic. His routine is strict and structured: early morning training, nutritionally optimized meals, sleep discipline, and limited screen time. These aren't just habits, they're a lifestyle passed down from a family that has shielded him from the temptations fame often brings. Despite being one of France's brightest stars, Warren lives like a man still chasing a dream. In interviews, he speaks with calm clarity. There's no arrogance, no ego. He deflects praise, uplifts teammates, and reminds listeners that even professional athletes battle nerves and self-doubt. He's been candid about mental health, encouraging young players to embrace vulnerability instead of hiding behind a performance mask. That rare honesty has made him a fan favorite, not because he's perfect, but because he's real. Even with international fame, he returns to Montreuil during off-seasons, playing pickup games with local kids and supporting community programs. He avoids a supercar lifestyle, keeps a low social media profile, and surrounds himself with a small, trusted inner circle. He's not hiding from fame, he's choosing balance over noise. But don't mistake calm for complacency. Behind that composed smile is a relentless competitor. Coaches describe him as one of the hardest workers at the club. He trains with laser focus, avoids distractions, and rarely engages in nightlife. For Warren, every session is a step toward legacy. He knows what early success success can do. It can inflate or inspire. He's chosen the latter. He treats each achievement as a checkpoint, not a destination. In the end, what makes Warren Zaire Emery so compelling isn't just his talent, it's his mindset. Behind every precision pass or ice-cold tackle is a young man with a plan, a purpose, and the discipline to see it through. By June 2025, Warren Zaire Emery wasn't just a teenage prodigy anymore. He was a fully established star, the heartbeat of PSG's midfield, and one of Europe's most sought-after players. His performances in Ligue and the Champions League had solidified his reputation as one of football's brightest midfield talents, and inevitably, the transfer spotlight began to burn hotter than ever. The Premier League became ground zero for speculation. Manchester United reportedly initiated formal talks with his representatives, viewing Warren as the ideal long-term replacement for both Casemiro and Eriksen. The numbers floated were bold: €100 million, 0 cents for a 19-year-old, but reflective of the generational talent he'd become. Meanwhile, Arsenal, known for nurturing youth under Mikel Arteta, also made quiet inquiries. Still, PSG stood firm, making it clear they had no intention of letting their midfield jewel go, at least not yet. Elsewhere, Real Madrid and Liverpool were monitoring developments. Though no formal bids emerged, the interest was real. According to Transfermarkt, Warren's value was listed at €55 million, 0 cents, but insiders suggested PSG valued him closer to €100 million, 0 cents, not just for his talent but for what he represented, the future of their club and potentially their captain. Internally, coach Luis Enrique has made his position clear. Warren is non-negotiable. PSG recently extended his contract through 2029, reinforcing their desire to build their squad around him. The message? He's not for sale, he's the cornerstone. Yet despite all the loyalty, Warren now stands at a career-defining crossroads. Does he remain in Paris, chasing more domestic dominance and a potential dynasty? Or does he take the leap into the Premier League's weekly war zone, facing tougher opposition, higher pressure, and a different kind of spotlight? The decision isn't just professional, it's deeply personal. It's about legacy, identity, ambition, fans, pundits, and clubs across Europe are holding their breath. Will Zaire Emery answer the call of Old Trafford, the allure of the Emirates, or will he continue building his empire at Parc des Princes? Whatever he chooses, the 2025 transfer window could be the most pivotal chapter in his journey yet. With explosive growth comes towering expectation. The meteoric rise of Warren Zaire Emery, from a Parisian suburb to captaining Paris Saint-Germain, debuting and scoring for France, and playing in a Champions League final, has placed him under a spotlight that burns hotter with each match. The world isn't just watching him grow, it's waiting to see if he transcends at just 19. He's been trusted with the kind of responsibility many players don't experience in a full career. He's not just filling a role, he's orchestrating PSG's midfield, leading transitions, controlling tempo, and making crucial decisions in games that define legacies. His presence at Euro 2024, followed by his continued involvement in Nations League fixtures, speaks volumes. He's no longer a backup plan, he's part of France's blueprint for the future. Now factor in the noise: €100 million, 0 cents, price tags, headlines calling him the next Pogba, Premier League giants circling like vultures. Every match feels like a referendum on whether he's ready. A misplaced pass becomes national news. A stunning assist? The bar is raised again. This pressure is relentless, yet he carries it quietly. His body language never shouts, but his football speaks volumes. Inside PSG, the club is clearly building around him. Yet even with all the support, the final push, the defining edge, must come from within, from him. So the question becomes painfully sharp. Can Warren turn this weight into fire? Can he take all this expectation, all this noise, and mold it into something unforgettable, something legendary. Because if he can, we're not just talking about a great season, we're talking about a career that redefines an era. From the concrete courts of Monterrey to the glamour of Parc des Princes, Warren Zaire-Emery has already lived a lifetime in footballing years. He's shattered records, led giants, and proven himself under the brightest lights. But this isn't the end of his story. It's just the end of Act 1. The next chapter, that's where legends are born. Yet, his next move could change everything. Will he stay loyal to the club that raised him and become a Paris icon like Mbappe? Or will he take the ultimate test? Premier League pressure, new culture, fierce rivals, and prove he can dominate on any stage. Can one teenager really carry the weight of a nation's midfield? Can calm composure survive when the whole world is watching? One thing's certain, we're witnessing the rise of a generational talent, but his destiny is still unfolding. Now, it's your turn. Where do you see Zaire Emery future? PSG legend? Premier League powerhouse? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and if you enjoyed this journey, don't forget to like and subscribe for more football stories like this.